Hi, I'm Jeff, and I'm a therapist.
And I'm Tyler, and I'm a patient.
We're going to talk about trauma, healing, and everything. Everything is traumatic.
Okay. Fuck it. Hey guys, welcome back. Everything is traumatic. We are joined today by the lovely Sandy Pickles. Yep. Jeff couldn't be here because he is, Jeff travels a lot, so sometimes we do these episodes where it's just me and Sandy. I like to think you guys want to come and listen to me. It's very unlikely, but that's why I have more interesting people on. So we are doing a part 2 of our Hurricane Helene. Just kind of give like a hurricane update. Sandy knows a lot more people, and more people like in the
people that actually know.
Yeah, that actually
I don't know.
And
other people know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And they spread that to you.
Yeah, grapevine and such.
You helped out one night.
Yeah.
Doing food. We can talk about that, and I'd love to all that shit. But Sandy, take it away with the
our little aftermath.
Update. A little
special.
Aftermath, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know a lot about it, but I know a little bit about a little bit. So Hartford, the small river town next to us, it's just a really tight-knit community, super small town, entirely dependent on the rafting community, as a lot of these sort of like southeast Appalachian towns are. They do rely on like a lot of tourism and shit like that. For Hartford specifically, it is solely rafting and zip lining and things of that nature. So there's, oh man, I don't know. I want to say like 9 different rafting companies through there. And a lot of raft guides who work seasonally. They typically don't live in this area. They come down for a short period of time. They work the summer, and then they typically go elsewhere in the country to do like winter sport activities. But there are a small handful of them that rely on the community and do stay all year long. So it's just a mixed bag. We get a lot of people from a lot of places. Some stick around, some don't. But for the ones that have, Hartford was pretty much entirely wiped out from the hurricane and the flooding. So I guess I'll start with Jody. Jody is a close friend of mine who I worked with previously in Hartford, not as a raft guide, but at the only brick and mortar restaurant in that town. So her and I have known each other a couple of years. We've always stayed in contact. She just has a really exceptional spirit. So I've always been very drawn to her. And she, in the last couple of years, had gotten a food truck, which are also incredibly popular. Everywhere, but in this area and through Appalachia, it's a big thing. So she has the Sweet Toad, which was, I think, primarily created for her to sell desserts and ice cream because of all the food trucks. There's not a lot of those in town. Then she started selling like some hot food and things like that. So Jody has the Sweet Toad. When the flood happened, which I think we're about 6 weeks out now, there's an organization called World Central Kitchen that comes to, they're all over the world, hence the name, but they go to areas that have been devastated by natural disasters, and I'm sure for a lot of other reasons as well, but I'm not super familiar. I'm trying to get more acclimated with that. We're not acclimated, but get more knowledge on World Central Kitchen. So they had come down to this area, and they have people that are a part of their team that they do the actual boots on the ground community outreach. So typically these people will find either a lot of the time it's food trucks, because obviously in areas that have been wiped out because of natural disasters, a lot of those standing restaurants are unavailable, water's unavailable, electricity. So they have partnered with a lot of food trucks in the past, because they're mobile, they can get to certain areas. So I'm not quite, I think Jody's incredibly well known in the community, and I think World Central Kitchen popped in and someone said something to someone else about Jody.
Yeah.
So they've partnered with her and they've helped her get meals to the small community and the surrounding communities for, I don't know, probably, I don't think they were here right away necessarily, but I would say within the week she was doing these dinners and lunches as well. So she was doing 2 meals twice a day. She's backed it down to 1. But I mean, I went to help her the one day. She was just a little low on volunteers. We delivered meals. That was our primary objective that night, was to deliver meals to these communities, because a lot of people lost their cars or they didn't have them to begin with, because we do live in a very poor area. So World Central Kitchen has been incredible in helping Jody distribute meals to our community, which has been really cool. I'd never heard of them before. I do not know how. But yeah, that's one thing that Hartford has, and I believe they have gone to other areas. They've done, I'm assuming they're in places like Asheville and North Carolina, Boone, North Carolina, Burnsville, North Carolina. I think they're headed to Canton, North Carolina. I believe that was the last thing I heard, once they are pulling out of here. Jody recently told me that World Kitchen, I think, is going to kind of stop a lot of their resources come the 16th of November, because there is so many established areas for people to get food and meals and their resources and stuff. So as far as like a lot of people, I think we've got enough bleach, water, cleaning products, first aid, hygiene. We've got enough of it to last a lifetime. I think that most people are at this point kind of in the rebuilding phase if they are able. So I think that's where a lot of these small communities are right now, is donations that are needed are actual building materials, and the people that have those skills to donate their time to the people that don't. I know there has been a really impressive effort to get small housing to people. So there's been a ton of people that have donated RVs and campers. There are like tiny home companies that have donated time and resources to building small homes for people until they figure out, what's next. In these poor communities, most people did not have flood insurance, regardless if they were right on the river or not. They just could not afford it. So it's a lot of people just drying out houses and trying to get mold removed. But there are still places that do not have clean drinking water. Asheville, parts of Asheville being one of them, which is, it's just so wild to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
to think about that.
Because that's a major fucking city.
Yeah. I mean, they could have never been prepared. So all of the systems that they had in place just could not support the devastation. But it's just hard to wrap your mind around, as well as everyone has kind of moved on from it outside of Appalachia. It's just one of those things that if it's not presently in the news and it's not immediately affecting anyone, yourself or anyone that you love, you just don't really think about it, and you don't realize that it's still an ongoing effort.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I can only speak for us, but like that day you did help out Jody. You had extras.
Yeah,
and like one of those warm, big black
warm
warm
it was so
case
cool.
things.
Yeah, they brought her. It's called a Cambro, and it's I mean, in my mind, that's what it's specifically designed for, is to kind of haul these styrofoam meal trays. Yeah, and you can, They're just an insulated, really lightweight kind of cooler. It's just all styrofoam. And yeah, so the extras that we had, we took down to
It's called
Feed My Sheep. It's
Feed My Sheep.
yeah. It's like a soup kitchen shelter in Newport, which is just on the other side of us. And all very, very small communities. And downtown Newport was also devastated. Yeah, so we were able to then, anything that we had left over.
We took it. Well, one of the things I remember, like, the reason I bring it up and like just thinking about it was like, excuse me, we brought that stuff, and you were like just bringing like the stacks of it to a lady that was sitting out there, and there was just like clothes and like other like water bottles, resources there, and then there was like this other couple that had like, I guess, went to Burger King.
Yeah, and brought a bunch of food.
To these, like, it looked like kids.
They did look like
kids. They looked like kids. They were like 15, 16, like hanging out outside of the place.
And it's possible that they've been displaced. It's possible that that's a place that they spend their time. I don't know, obviously. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely been so much support from within. I mean, Appalachia has really taken care of Appalachia.
And that's also been the thing, like, yeah, because it's not directly affecting other people, but like I do see it anytime we go out. I saw it today when we drove by, and I guess like the other side of downtown, or like entering downtown Newport, like the train tracks that like had just like broken.
Yeah, that only happened like a week or two ago.
Okay.
Yeah, that was not. It is a result of the flooding. It just did not happen immediately.
Yeah.
And that's something a lot of places have seen is
These
mudslides, landslides, bridge collapses that have happened after the fact. Because it just changed so much of the terrain, and all of those, supporting pillars and things that were in place had been compromised. Even if they hadn't completely collapsed, their integrity was not as it was prior to the flooding.
Well, even like you've mentioned, like those places, those roads that we would drive to go hike, like we can't get to.
They just don't exist.
Yeah, they don't exist anymore.
And I mean, even I-40 is shut down. I mean, you cannot get from Tennessee to North Carolina going I-40, and you can't really get there from 2570. It's just, there's a lot of people have been cut off from these communities for sure. And I, because Jody is such a fixture in that community and she knows so many people, she was talking to me about when they wrap things up there in Hartford on the 16th, if she's able, and this is not related with World Central Kitchen, there's an area of North Carolina where there are still, and I'm sure that there are multiple areas, but speaking to the one she had spoke of, there are still search and rescue, which is really at this point search and recovery, but there are still search and rescue teams out there looking for people.
Yeah.
And that, so her plan is to, after Hartford ties up with World Central, she will go to these other areas and feed the search and rescue teams with the leftover food that she has from this World Kitchen organization.
Oh,
yeah. And she was talking to me about the guy that she's going with. He was there the other night when I stopped by to drop her off a little treat. And she was telling me that he was getting ready to leave that evening to go look for 2 kids.
Damn.
From the flood.
Yeah.
So that's why it's, at this point, I cannot imagine a world where they are breathing. I cannot.
See, and that's, you never know.
No.
I mean, it's,
no one,
look,
they're not.
I'm going to be realistic and say, yes, probably. But if we don't have hope, I don't know. It sounds stupid. It sounds lame.
It doesn't sound stupid. It doesn't sound lame. It is that there's nothing wrong with being a hopeful person. There's nothing wrong for giving space, for creating space in your heart, your mind, to have hope for these things, because crazier shit has happened.
Yeah.
100%. I am just more logic minded, and it's okay that you have enough compassion to be hopeful. Like,
I'm a compassionate little
yeah,
fella.
you are a compassionate little fella.
Yeah.
And I have, I'm a little bit more of a black and white kind of thinker.
Yeah.
So but and it's hard to say, and I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings by doubting that hope and that possibility. I personally do not hold that belief, and I hope I am wrong. However, my point in bringing this up was that this is not over for a lot of people. This is still very much an ongoing situation. And it's insane that we are 6 weeks out and people have been waiting 6 weeks for someone to come and look for their child. Mm-hmm. And that's not to say anything bad about the timeliness of search and rescue.
No.
They've had their hands fucking full.
Yeah, and we appreciate
100%. I'm not, dogging on anyone for taking so long. That is not what I am saying. These areas, while they did have established search and rescue, never to this magnitude.
Yeah,
and you can't exactly be training people who are totally green in that area, because that just compromises their team's safety by having a weaker link. And I imagine it's hard that they've had to turn people away, because I'm sure that they have. I mean, you can't just let any Tom, Dick, or Harry come in and look for people that need help. But all this to say that it's just very much still happening in these communities. It is not over. And there's still people holding out for bad news, and that's pretty fucked. And they've finally just started the cleanup and debris pickup, which is wild. I mean, to be driving down the roads that we always drive down and just to see all of the debris, whether it be organic or from people's homes, like,
yes,
it is just piled so high on the roadsides, and the mildew smell, the mold smell is just,
like when we drove in the Hartford, like it was a good idea to wear a mask.
Yeah,
it really helped.
Yeah, it's really hard to breathe in those areas, and there's still so much mud that has just been laying on surfaces for so long, and you have these areas that aren't really high traffic, and when people come through, it just stirs up all that shit.
And I feel like we say all this like we're painting this picture, like we're not trying to bum you out, but like you mentioned, a lot of people like are fixated on a lot of current things, which I get. Do not get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I feel the need to speak about our immediate community and environment, and I think people need to know that like the severity of it, but also to share like the good shit, because like there has been so much like really like touching and beautiful things. Like,
it's absurd.
I mean, just like, and I hope it's all right. I mean, maybe we can cut this. I don't know, but like Carol, like getting that shipment of stuff.
Yeah. My for the listener.
For all the Swedes.
All the Swedes. My aunt and neighbor, she is just a wild woman, and she's got connections everywhere. And she spoke to a close friend of hers. He's some sort of family to us. But speaking with him about what she's seeing and what people are looking for, and like trying to just connect people with resources, was able to get a tractor trailer load, or potentially two, I'm not really sure, of supplies. So it was all sorts of food and, your non-perishable type items and clothing and hygiene products and water and cleaning products and fucking an entire pallet of apples.
Yes, it was just a fucking pallet of apples. Think about that. And we had so many apples.
We had so many apples. Oh, Lord. But there are so many people that have gone above and beyond to try to find resources for the community. And then a good friend of ours. She lost her home, her camper. Anyway, she's also going through some really important life changes that are all emotionally, mentally, and physically very taxing for her. So she's struggling in more ways than one, and Carol somehow through this person was able
This person in Ohio that was just given.
I don't know if I feel like she spoke to Stan, who was responsible for the tractor trailers coming in and dropping off supplies. And I think it was someone he was connected to in Ohio that donated their old family RV. And it was in working condition. I think it needed a new hot water heater. But everything else. And not only did they bring down this RV, they stuffed it full of donations.
More donations, yeah. Because
Poor
there was
Carol.
like 8 totes of just like.
I think there was, totes that were just unopened. Again, hygiene, cleaning, batteries. I mean, just anything that you could possibly think of. And then what you didn't see inside the RV was garbage bags and like the big, your 30-gallon or whatever trash bags full of winter wear, and some of it brand new. There was sleeping bags. There was, I don't even know. There was so much stuff. You could tell they did like a Costco or Sam's Club run because there was like a ton of bulk, like tissues and toilet paper. And I mean, just anything. There was so much. They even had like decorations in there, like Christmas stuff, like brand new, like, because it's going to be hard for a lot of people to celebrate the holidays if they're able to celebrate at all. And so they really thought of a lot of really cool shit. They had this like big candy, like goodie basket in there that was stuffed to the brim and had like a lot of cute shit in it. Like, yeah, they were no idea who they were, but they donated this RV to our friend who's now able to, just
have a place to live.
Have a place to live and rest and
So, and one of my questions is like, and again, like I know Asheville is hurting and I know a lot of places in North Carolina is hurting. I can only talk about the immediate areas that are near me that affect me, or like, I don't know if that's selfish, but whatever. I don't care. Maybe that's shitty.
No, I think you're just trying to speak from your experience, which I think is what people should do.
So, but I'm wondering if like, can you get into say like Del Rio or, which is like in Tennessee, and then can you get into Hot Springs?
Like via Del Rio?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
So, Hot Springs, North Carolina is one of the coolest little fucking Appalachian towns. It's absolutely adorable. They do a lot of rafting. They have a couple of bars, restaurants. My cousin, who is my neighbor to the other side, we like it down here in the holler. All right. But he actually worked in a restaurant there in Hot Springs. He's been out of work since. But it's just a very cool little mountain town. There's a nice resort there. And by resort, I don't mean like a high volume. Yeah, we're not talking like some fancy shit. It's very
small little town.
Yeah, but it's just the perfect kind of like mountainous getaway. It's not like commercialized at all. It's not very touristy. It's pretty chill. But they were also, again, just totally wiped out. There's just really nothing left to it. So I don't know exactly what the issue is, or like where. I'm assuming a road or a bridge was damaged that takes you from us through Del Rio, Tennessee into Hot Springs, North Carolina. But no, that direct shot that we have driven to go there so many times, you cannot get through that way. But I think it's just sort of like there's a bit of detour rerouting, I believe, that people have accomplished. So, and I'm on like the Hot Springs community board. And so I kind of get a lot of I read a lot of stuff coming out of that community with people asking like, hey, is this open yet? Is that open yet? Has anyone been down to XYZ to see how this is doing? So yeah, I mean, the information is there as long as, if people are fortunate enough to have internet. And yeah, I mean, everybody's doing the best that they can to keep everyone updated for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. You can't get in there easily.
Okay. And I think this will be the last thing, and then we can probably wrap it up.
It's totally fine.
And maybe this is just me that I'm thinking, because like I don't want people to like. I know we still want people to like help and do things, but like, do you feel like these smaller communities don't want just like a flood of people, say like joining their local groups just to spam it, or like do they want these people to like join these things to kind of like help and donate or do whatever? I guess is my question. Like, are we better off having just the locals take care of the locals, or like, and I'm sure it's a balance, but just I guess your opinion. What do you think?
I think that it's sort of impossible to say, because I think that every small town's need will vary as far as like what their most pressing issue is. So as far as like, find people you can reach out to, of course. And I feel like one good resource is to go through Facebook groups. And most Facebook groups also have like a screening process. So like if you have the ability rather, to put in like an additional comment and say like, not from this area, just trying to find out what I can do to get resources to you guys. Then if they don't want to allow you in the group, they could potentially hook you up with something or like direct you in some sort of way. I really don't know what the best answer for that is. But I would rather people go out of their way to reach out and see if they can help than just feel like they're being bothersome or no one wants,
maybe it's just me, because I feel like I'm bothering everyone.
I know,
but
I feel like that was a very
me question.
That question went through your filter 100%.
But I think just
don't be afraid to be an outsider if what you're trying to do is help.
Yeah. That's a really good perspective on it. Like, don't be afraid to be an outsider. Don't be afraid to like want to help if you do want to help.
Yeah, just come in with good intention and understanding.
There is like a lot of events happening like for flood victims.
Fundraisers coming out your ass.
Mm-hmm. And it's so great. It's really great to see. So like
and they haven't stopped. I mean, there's another one tonight, I think, in Knoxville.
Is that tonight or is it tomorrow?
Oh, fuck, it's probably tomorrow.
It's probably tomorrow. I don't know. Well, by the time we record this,
it won't even matter. Yeah, but there are fundraisers ongoing.
Please help out if you can. Thank you for listening. This has reached its logical conclusion. Sandy, do you have any final thoughts?
My final thought is that if you do feel compelled to donate or you want to pass along any kind of information, I can guarantee you that your donation to SWEET, which is spelled CWEET, it's clean water, expected in East Tennessee. Give them a Google. I personally know the people that run this organization. They're fantastic little hippies. Anyway, that's all the thing. But look for SWEET, CWEET. And if you donate to them, I promise you that every last cent will go directly to the communities. So I don't have any of their other info, but CWEET, give it a Google. Clean water expected in East Tennessee.
Yeah, because Deb is awesome. Like she's the best. But
I got to see her today.
And good.
Love Debbie.
Well, you guys are also the best. Thank you for listening. And as always, this has been all of us here at Everything is Traumatic. I'm Tyler.
And I'm Sandy Pickles.
And Jeff, we miss you. We're going to see you maybe tomorrow or the next day or the royal tomorrow, whatever that means. Please take care of yourself.
Don't let her